What if I told you that with 4 simple steps, not necessarily easy, but simple steps, you could get better at pretty much anything you wanted to? Am I saying you're going to be the best in the world at it? No, but you definitely will get better with these 4 simple steps.
A fixed mindset means that you believe that talent is natural and inborn. A growth mindset means you believe you can get anything, you can get better at anything that you want with intentional, deliberate practice.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2094. Here's how to get better at anything. I went on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and this is something I've been testing to just really get to the next level, like get better. I actually said, I think I said something about I was singing in the waiting room as I usually do, and the person let me in, and they said, "What are you singing?" And I said, "I'm just mumbling to myself." I said, "I'm not quite a strong singer like you. I know you've done some a cappella in the past."
Oh, nice.
He's like, "How the hell did you know I did a cappella?" And I said, "I do research before every single one of these
little
shows."
ChatGPT research.
No,
baby.
no, I do real research. I listen to an episode. I don't you fucking
real
dare.
research, as if ChatGPT isn't real research.
It can't listen for you. I got to know the flow. I got to know the energy. I need to know. And he's like, "Is that like your thing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Do you do that every time?" And I said, "Yeah, I've pretty much done that every time for the last 1,000 episodes. I do that before every episode I go on." Yeah. I said, that's part of my system. And I think I've just gotten way better at that. And then that made me think of the fact that maybe that person is not improving in their craft because they don't have the 4 steps that we're going to talk about today. They're relatively new, yeah. But the fact that I did more research as a guest than they did as a host is telling that they're probably not practicing this as much as they could be. So I'm going to let you do it because this isn't my framework. Normally, I would just steamroll it and pretend it was mine. I'm trying to be more self-aware, though.
Nice. What do you mean it's new? We've been running this thing for like 6 years, man.
No, I didn't say it was new.
You just said it was fairly new.
He was fairly new to podcasting.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 4 steps to getting better at anything. This is the mastery formula. That's what I call it. Very sexy title. Prep, rep, reflect, perfect. 4 simple steps to get better at anything. The first one is prep. You prepare. So Kevin and I, for the last, I think it was 33 minutes before we hit record, 37 actually, we talked about a bunch of stuff to build rapport, to get in connection, talk about the episode. What do we want to do? Why do we want to do it? What have we learned? It was the weekend. Boom, boom, boom. So that's prepare. Then there's rep. Do the rep. Do the thing. Rep is like a fitness metaphor. It's when you're putting in the reps. So prep, rep. Rep is do the actual thing. Now, the key with rep is to try to stay out of the coaching mind while you're on the field. This is hard for me. This is a lot of times why I fuck up on the show, because I'm coaching myself in real time instead of just being present and being in flow. So that the power of now, that actually is true for being in the rep. The moment you're done with the rep, you better reflect and you better go into the past, the present, and the future, and you better future orient, redesign. I think the power of now is dangerous because the people who learn about it don't realize only when you're on the court. Here's the idea. When you're on the court, metaphorically, stay in the game, stay in the present moment, focus on the craft, focus on what you're doing. When you get off the court, you've got to watch the game and see what you did wrong. You've got to review. We call it an experience review. So prep, rep, reflect. Reflect is the experience review. Kevin and I was reluctant to do this episode because I said, brother, I'm doing 9 episodes a week now between Next Level University, Business Growth University, and Conscious Couples Podcast. And it's really, really, really hard for me to review 9 episodes a week. So back in the early days, Kevin used to prepare for an interview or prepare for a solo episode, a dual episode in this case, because there was 2 of us. Then we would do the rep. Then we would listen to it. I remember back when we were once a week, I would listen to every single episode. And then I would reflect on, okay, where do I suck and where am I good? For me, it's in that order. For other people, I recommend where are you good and then where do you suck? And wherever you suck, that's where you can go to work. So I reviewed a speech that I did at training. I say okay, I say right. I don't say as much as I used to. I still say like. I still say There's certain things that I'll say in between my words that just need to stop. Just hold space. As speakers, it's really hard to do that because it's so fucking uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
And then perfect. The reason I like prep, rep, reflect, perfect is because it rhymes. I kind of don't like the perfect label because there is no perfect. There's the pursuit of perfection, knowing you'll never get there. It's kind of a duality. But perfect means implement. Next time, prepare better, do the rep better, and then reflect better. And a lot of that is meta skills. Meta skills are skills about obtaining skills. So a skill is effective communication. A meta skill is getting better at learning how to perfect communication.
Do you think we're still doing the optimal amount of reps based on the fact that we cannot reflect on all the reps that we're doing?
Yes, but only because of what this podcast represents. So we're doing it for the listener, not for us. But the 1% improvement in your pocket every day from anywhere on the planet, completely free, personal development and success, that idea of get a little better each day. I was on with a client recently. I appreciate the question. I said, NLU solves a problem. I don't know if we've ever communicated this to the listeners before. Whenever I'm talking to listeners, I look at the camera. And we should, which is another reason we suck, to be honest. Okay? We don't communicate to the listener enough, connect the dots. So here's one that we've never said, I don't think. And if I have, correct me. The purpose of one per day is to help the listener get 1% better per day.
Yeah, you've said that.
I've said that. This is the part I haven't said.
Sorry, my bad.
I said this to one of my clients. I said, NLU solves a problem that you have, even if you don't know you have it. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, you love personal development. I dare you to go 2 weeks without personal development, without having a full-on panic attack. Have you ever fallen out of personal development for so long and you're like, who the hell am I? What am I doing? You fall off track. You just drift off track. It's like being on an inner tube and 10 minutes later, you're nowhere near where you were. You fell asleep. I said, I dare you to go 2 weeks without personal development and not have a full-on panic attack. Obviously playful. I said, NLU solves a problem. Here's the problem that NLU solves for every listener. You never, ever, ever have to worry about going anywhere else ever again to get personal development every single day in your pocket completely free. It's done. Kevin and I have taken everything we've ever learned, everything we've ever curated about success and personal development, and we've packaged it for free every single day. We need to go learn. We need to go listen to books. We need to learn every day. We need to study business, all this stuff. Our listeners, it's taken care of. You never have to search on YouTube again. You never have to hope the speech is good. Every day, NLU, Kevin and I, high humility, high work ethic, personal development, reach your potential. You want to reach your potential if you're listening. This podcast, you never have to worry about any other resource ever again about how to reach your potential 1% improvement per day. And that's a problem that's solved now. It's checked. The box is checked. Now, Kevin and I don't have that luxury because we can't just learn from ourselves for the rest of our life.
Yeah. I wish.
Every business solves a problem. That's the problem we solve, is the fact that the world is very noisy and no one has to worry about. Do you know how much time I waste trying to get good content?
I've heard about the frustrations in time. Yeah.
Do you waste a bunch of time trying to get... I mean, have you listened to other podcasts?
I just
so
ask
hard
you
to find a good podcast.
I just ask you. People ask me all the time, what are your favorite podcasts? I don't listen to podcasts.
See, you just ask me. So I'm solving that problem for you.
Yeah.
You ask me what book to read. I'm the one who's reading all these garbage books and having to return them, right?
You read faster, so I think it's good. I think it's good. You listen faster.
I read too.
I had a client ask me, she said, how do you make sure that you're improving when you're doing so much? Like when you're going on so many podcasts? And I said, honestly, I have the metacognition aspect where I'm always thinking of what's happening in real time and how well I'm doing.
What's the first thing you do when you get off? Assuming you don't have another meeting in 1 minute.
If it goes really well and I like the person, I usually say, oh shit, that was super cool. That was a super cool person. I'm super glad I got to have that. And then I just think about it for a minute. What went well? What didn't? Did I hang in my story too long? What was their response to it? One of the reasons I like doing so much prep is because there are some people who they're interrupters. So you start your story and they interrupt. And I need to know that Because if I know that, I will pause more and I will let them inject things where other people say, just go. I'll interrupt you if needed, but they'll let you talk for 8 minutes straight. Mm-hmm. And I need to know. So
you watch an interview?
I usually jump. I won't watch a whole one, but I'll do like 3 different interviews or 3 different episodes from them just to get a flow of how does the intro go? What is the conversation like? That's usually where I live. 10 minutes.
Here's something that just came up. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
The prep is both micro and macro. So one of the things that I find really cool is that because you've prepped so many episodes so long, so you've podcasted over 3,000 times now. Do you know the number?
I think it's like 3,110 as of today, I think.
Okay. So that's 3,110 iterations of prep, rep, reflect, perfect. And it's not saying that you did a full analysis every time, but you understand. Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. And the cool thing is that your worst episode now is better than your best episode 5 years ago. I listened to episode 402. We had Samantha Skelly on for a breathwork exercise. It was a live podcast, and there was like 22 people in the room, and I do that breathwork exercise every now and then. And at the end, I listened to you and I. Shut your mouths, will ya? And again, it was very. We were very grateful. We were very gracious. We just sucked, in my opinion, at what we did. And again, suck is a relative term. Relative to now, we sucked. Compared to brand new podcasters, we were actually very good, right? So, but she was ahead of us back then,
for sure.
And I understand now why it was so hard for us to have credibility back then, because she knew unconsciously that she was ahead of us. She was in her mid 30s or early 30s. We were just young, and we acted young. I didn't know that we were acting young, but we had like a younger. I don't know. It's almost like we hadn't earned our stripes yet. We also didn't hold, you and I didn't hold, you better than me, but I didn't hold how well developed I was. It's almost like I was always there to learn, not to teach. And I think that gave people the impression that I was less learned, when in reality, I know far more than Samantha Skelly about everything except for breathwork. And even saying that out loud is scary because people think that's an arrogant, pretentious thing to say. But at the end of the day, I do know. And I've coached her too, by the way. So I know this, actually. I never used to say that. I coached Samantha Skelly. And no one even, So at the end of the day, what's my point of all this? You've done 3,110 iterations of podcasting. On the macro, you actually don't need, quote unquote, to prep anymore. However, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. And the question is, you go from getting 10% better per rep to eventually 9% better per rep, and then 8% better per rep. And now you and I are looking at 0.1% little tweaks each time.
There's a point where I tell my story where I've noticed that I make somebody laugh before I talk about something super serious, and it just doesn't work. It's just a weird transition from like making somebody laugh to then talking about how I had suicidal ideation. It just doesn't work. It makes it's just weird.
Yeah, people don't know how to feel. And
yeah,
I know you, so I know I can.
Well, yeah. But again, I'm very open, and for me, it seems like a lifetime ago, and I've worked through so much of the internal stuff, not all the internal stuff. But if I'm on a podcast that's talking about mental health and there's usually really heavy stories, I don't want to make light of a situation that shouldn't be made light of, right? So what is your biggest strength out of the 4, and what is your biggest weakness out of the 4?
Prep is my weakness, for sure. I would say my biggest strength is the reflect. I am constantly in contemplation of what needs to improve. Constantly.
How do you know what needs to improve? Especially in the beginning, if somebody is just doing this for the first time, how do you know what needs to improve?
Honestly, this is one of the biggest issues. The feedback you get is not usually good. Whoever said the customer is always right is very ignorant, because customers are consumers and they don't actually understand the behind the scenes. That's like me telling Leonardo DiCaprio how to act. Oh, brother, I really don't think you did that scene right. It's like, dude, shut your fucking mouth. You've never even been on camera. So a lot of people who have the strongest opinions when you do start a podcast or whatever, make a movie, anything, the customer has a perspective that you need to take in, but you can't take it literally. So if you've never podcasted before, you're going to give me feedback about what you think should be, and I have to filter that through, okay, that's your perspective, but when it comes to the craft, everything looks different from the outside in, the inside out. So how do you know what to improve? You kind of don't. You have to constantly do the scientific method of, one of the hardest things in the world for me has been what I believe is a good podcast episode that adds value and helps people reach their potential. Some people don't think is good. That's been really hard for me. You and I have given speeches where I thought my speech was way more informative, way more valuable.
It was.
But they liked your, well, no, but it isn't if they don't receive the value.
But if we were just measuring it purely on if you took it and absorbed it all, yours is more valuable.
So let me ask you this. What do you, and we're going to use podcasting as an example here, but we want you thinking about whatever you do for a living. So what is your process for reflect? And I'll give you mine as well.
Honestly, a lot of it for me is the feeling. Like, how did I feel doing it? I'm convinced the way I feel dictates the way I do and the way it lands. That's one of the things for me.
Know?
How I feel?
Like, what do you mean how you feel about it?
How do I feel about the performance? How do I feel about the way I answer the questions?
How do you trust your feeling? This is what's called an unconscious competency. So your feelings are attached. How you feel about your performance is connected to unconscious things that you're grading. One of the things you're grading yourself on is how well you make people laugh, whether or not they understand what you're talking about, and I think whether or not it gets them to improve a little or think differently.
I would say, yeah, I think all of that. It depends. When I feel like I'm in flow, you have those times. We all have those times in whatever it is we do where it's like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I had one of those interviews last week. It was like, I don't know where this stuff is coming from. I don't know where these answers are coming from. It's just working.
It's flow.
And I got off that episode and it was like, that was a fucking 10.
What are you
optimizing
was a 10. For? What are you optimizing for in an interview? I'm optimizing for helping someone leave with a deeper understanding.
Same. I want to make complicated things simple. I don't want it to be the episode you get off and it's like, well, that was a bunch of pie in the sky. No, I want to make it fucking so simple that it almost seems like it's not valuable. But if you do it, I guarantee it can really change your life. I don't want to be like and I'm not saying everybody does this, but I don't want to be like quote unquote everyone else who comes and they say, well, I have the answer to everything and it's this and it's this. And no, I don't have the answer to everything. I think most answers are way more simple than people make them. And my goal is to figure out how to convey the simplicity. That's my goal.
So you're optimizing for making it simple and actionable.
And digestible, yeah.
I don't know if I know anymore what I'm optimizing for. I'm trying to figure that out. I know that I'm optimizing to help someone leave here with a deeper understanding. Kevin, since the beginning, he's always wanted people to have tactics that they could execute on. I've always wanted you to leave understanding yourself, others, and the world at a deeper level. Because I believe if you do understand yourself, others, and the world at a deeper level, you can make more effective decisions. And one of my clients said, yeah, but you will. Like, that's the thing. Other people know what to do and don't do it. That's why the knowledge is power thing is always an argument Kevin and I have in Discord. And to me, knowledge actually is power because when I have a deeper understanding, I can make better choices. That's what I picked your brain for 37 minutes earlier about what don't I get? Like, and I'll bring everyone behind the scenes. I asked Kevin if other people know that
FYI, time.
Yeah, thank you. 3 minutes. I asked Kevin behind the scenes if other people think that I'm smart. And he said, no one knows how smart you are. And I said, how would I help that shine? I have no idea that other people don't know that. And again, I don't even care if you know that. I just know that if you don't think that, I can't help you. If you think you know more than I do, I'm not going to be able to pour into you. Yeah. People listen to people they think are smarter than them. That's just an unconscious thing. So I have no freaking clue how to showcase intelligence. I don't think. I know what it... I don't feel like I'm good at showcasing intelligence. Genuinely.
It's hard to measure. Well, it's how do you tell if somebody's strong? See how much weight they lift. If people were standing you next to me, how would they know? I don't know if they would be able to tell. I don't know. Right? There has to be
Seriously?
I don't think I look that much stronger than you.
No, not strength. I mean intelligence.
No.
Really?
No. I don't think so. I don't know. I could be off on this.
No, you're not. You're definitely I'm off on this.
All it is how do you know? I think most of us, if we don't have awareness of something to the depths of it, we look for external cues on whether or not.
Yeah. What are the external cues of intelligence?
I think it's success. For a lot of people, I think it's connected.
I know some successful morons, brother.
Same. But that's because you're more intelligent than they are. They might be morons to you, but they might be super smart to me.
That is really unfortunate. I know we got to jump here. I know that's not the point of the episode. That's so unfortunate, though. Listeners, anyone out there watching or listening, do not just go off of external signs of something. Like some people are really good at making it look that way. I mean, that's the only skill some people have. I've coached a lot of people. Some people's only skill is making it look good, period. It's an empty bag of chips. That is so dangerous. That's so dangerous. And you're right. You can't tell unless you're also informed. And you might be learning from the wrong people. And that's something hopefully we are solving as well. So
I think we all have learned from the wrong people at some point in time, for sure.
For sure, me. Absolutely.
Same. All right, so 4 steps: prep, rep, reflect, perfect. Figure out which one you're leaning into, figure out which one you're not doing enough, maybe one you're doing way more, spend some of that time doing one of the other ones. And I'm convinced if you do that for a long enough period of time, you will get better. That is a guarantee. And then eventually it becomes an intention. Like I'm always thinking from that frame. In this episode, this is my 1% improvement for me. Did Alan know that we had 3 minutes left? If he did, cool. I don't have to say it. I'm so used to saying it. Maybe we've evolved past that. Awesome. That's my reflection.
That's why I said 3 minutes. So
that's what I figured. Yeah, that's what I figured. All right.
Next Level Dreamliner, real quick. Next Level Dreamliner. Did you already say that?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Kid doesn't even listen to me.
No, I was thinking about other stuff. Sorry. Next Level Dreamliner. This will help you with the prep, rep, reflect, perfect. We have most important win, most important improvement for a reason. What did you do well? What are you going to do better?
And if you are looking for a group of amazing humans, if you're lonely in this growth journey, which is very, very common, we have a private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, posts every day. Listen to the podcast every day. Comment on the stuff. Be part of the Facebook group every single day as well. Okay. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.